Welcome everybody, we got a house party 5v5. This is the third game of week 1 in the Premier League Season 4. On the blue side, we've got White Lightning versus on the red side, Vanquished.
This is going to be one crazy showdown. These are the two teams, White Lightning at least, one of the teams in the grand finals of last season, and Vanquish, a phoenix reborn from the ashes of the other team in the finals, Sky High. So these two titans from above going to be going at it once again. I'll be your play-by-play caster, Captain Flowers.
And I'll be your color caster, I'm Thunderdome. And we've got quite a few bans here. Targeted Yasuo ban against Hobbs. He is so proficient on these AD assassins, they have got to take that off the table. As well as Callista, Christina, great carry. Just demolishes teams on her.
A lot of respect coming out from these two teams. You can tell from these targeted style bans. If these were solo queue style bans, you'd see Juggernauts, you'd see Gangplank, you'd see Fiora. But there's none of that this game. These teams know what they're up against, and they know what they have to answer.
And so the instant Elise picked up another powerful pick in the meta, not exactly a Juggernaut, but has so much early game gank potential as well as kill pressure, counter jungle pressure, great clear, great sustain. Elise has got everything going for her. She's one mad lady.
Gnar also being hovered over on the side of Vanquished. A popular champion, even if he's dropped out recently in terms of solo queue and what you see on the general ladder. Competitive has never stopped having a soft spot in its heart for the little Yordle. His ability to make plays in teamfights as well as lane relatively safely versus most picks, except for that Yasuo, which is already ever so conveniently banned, keeps him always in the eyes, on the side for these competitive teams.
As well as Thresh, he has such great pick potential. He can engage, he can peel, he can save you via Dark Passage, give you a little rat on the lantern right back to the warm cuddling arms of your team and away from that scary enemy. He can set down the box for zone as well, and with Echo, Victor, and Alistar off the table, Purple Team, Vanquished, is going to have a lot harder time controlling these fights via zoning. That's why Thresh and Gnar are so potent picks this early on in the drafting phase.
Vayne and Janna going to be hovered here on the side of White Lightning, and the hover is not even the word I'm looking for. They're going to lock those in completely fearlessly. Flex picked into that. Could be a potential difficulty for Vayne. It's going to definitely be a challenge, a gauntlet for her to run to really show off her skills, having to maneuver around the utility and the lockdown that's already present on this Vanquished squad.
Aside from Christina's mechanical ability, Simkrev is great on these Peel-style champions. He's played a lot of Janna and ranked. They practiced it as a team. White Lightning's been a squad for a while, so these two are going to have such innate synergy going into this match. That's why they locked it in instantaneously. It's just a vote of confidence for their team. However, Vanquish taking a lot more time with their picks, maybe just because they're strategizing more. They don't want to make any hasty decisions here with a game. The initial game of the season for each of these teams, there's a lot riding on their shoulders.
I love both of these picks coming out onto the side of Vanquished. Tristana is a champion who can still bully Vayne around in lane. The power of that explosive shot in trades, going to be able to bully her out early, outdo her in those early trades, and make it so she's not allowed to just farm up for that mid game she wants. And at the same time, Evelynn, a wonderful champion to flank behind and make sure that that hyper carry doesn't become that hyper.
Well played, sir. As well as Evelynn kind of counteracts Elise. Jigstick LP is going to want to make these big early game plays on the Spider to try and get their team snowballing. But Cat the Cougar is going to be that thought, the afterthought, or the forethought in their mind. Is Elise here? Is she waiting in the bush? Is she right around the corner? We don't know where she is. So they're going to have to get some deep wards to counteract Vanquish's pressure. Elise doesn't even need to show. If Elise does not show on the map or they do not find her, if Evelynn does not show up on the map and they're unable to find her on the starting clear, then Vanquish is going to have, I imagine, an easier time in the early game because they've got just so much more map pressure with the unknown.
I love the fact that this is essentially a showdown rematch between the two top teams of last season, because with the amount of flex in the picks that White Lightning is doing, you would think they've got their computers wired up at the gym. These guys aren't hovering any of their champions. They know what they want. They're insta-locking it in, and it's a mind game. They're saying, we're so confident. We know what we're doing. We don't have to adjust. And that's got to be a good sign for them to boost their team morale. They know what they're doing, they know how they're going to do it, and all the squads are locked in now.
Let's see if Sky High can hit White Lightning with that Flexi. Oh, sorry, Vanquished. They have rebranded from Sky High to Vanquished. They got second place Premier League Season 3. White Lightning, they're holding the belt. They've got that crown. First place Season 3 champions of the Premier League. This is going to be explosive. And exactly like Tristana wants you, it's going to bust you.
A lot of this game, I think, is going to come down to the performance on Kuristina on this Vayne. If you look at the picks across the White Lightning squadron, you've got a support-style top laner, you've got a support-style mid laner, you've got a very peel-intensive support, and then you've got a jungler who's all about supplying your team with that early pressure. They're depending on Vayne to do well in these fights throughout the mid game, throughout the late game, and just become a monster that they can peel for so she can dismantle this enemy team all on her own.
And also, Orianna and Janna both got shields. Maokai has a damage reduction. Maokai can either engage or start peeling. Elise is probably primarily going to be jumping in on enemy 271 to try and make Tristana not focus the carries and distract her for as long as they can while Vayne and Orianna rip through the fights. Counteract this, however, Vanquished just got Cat the Cougar and Alcantos ready to flank, ready to pick off Kuristina or Hobbs, whoever is going to be the most vulnerable, and that's why Hobbs has picked up Cleanse.
I'm definitely, in the same way that I said I was looking for Kuristina to be the player to watch on the side for White Lightning, I'm going to say that on the side of Vanquish, it's going to be Alcantos. If he can find the flank, if he can find the positioning for those Ahri spells, it can be really tricky sometimes to Spirit Rush into the right place, find the charm, get the orb out so it bounces with both hits. But if he can find the damage and melt this Vayne at the onset of a fight, it completely dismantles what White Lightning's trying to pull off.
And we're going to see how far ahead Kuristina and Simkev can come out in comparison to Enemy and Simrim. Simrim has played a lot of Fresh and Ranked. Right now, he has got... Oh, sorry, that was his Morgana stat. Never mind, but he's pretty good on Thresh. It's his most played, so... I'm definitely going to expect to see a lot of style coming out of their bottom lane squad on Vanquished. And Tristana does have an easier laning phase than Vayne. That's something to keep in mind.
So many champions, like Draven, like Graves, like Corki, like all those champions that used to bully Vayne around early are champions that have been hit with the nerf bat over and over and over again to the point where Vayne has a much easier time getting out of that early game that was supposed to be her weakness than she used to have. And with Tristana's remake having that explosive shot being such a powerful trading tool, Tristana actually became a lot better of a laner once she managed to get that under her belt. And the fact that they picked that into the Vayne, they saw the Vayne pick and they think, hey, we're not going to let this farm. We want to shut this down at all phases of the game. I really like Vanquish team comp.
Yeah, Vanquished has a lot of hidden AoE. Elise, when she drops the... Sorry, wow, I keep calling Evelyn Elise. That's going to get confusing for our listeners. Elise... Evelyn...
Twice in a row!
Evelyn has AoE. Ahri's got... Speaking of charms, AoE with the Orb Deception, Foxfire, Spirit Rush. Nar's got AoE, and Tristana has AoE, so if White Lightning missteps and groups up, Vanquish is going to have an easy time blowing him up.
All right, guys, we are about to enter that loading screen. As soon as the loading passes, we will be live on Summoner's Rift for White Lightning versus the former Sky High squad, now renamed Vanquished. Stay right there. You aren't going to want to miss it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here on Summoner's Rift. It's a house party 5v5 Premier League match. We are just now starting the Premier League up once again. This is going to be game number 3 here in Season 4 of the Premier League. It's White Lightning versus Vanquished. I'll be your play-by-play caster, Captain Flowers.
And I'll be your color caster, Thunderdome. On the blue side, we've got reigning champions White Lightning, Senpai playing Maokai in the top lane, Chickstig LP on Elise in the jungle, Hobbs playing Oriana in the mid lane, Kuristina playing Vayne at AD carry, and Simkev repping that Janna.
Their opponents, Vanquished, formerly hailing as Sky High over on the side of the red. They're going for an early invade, but their enemy 271 on Tristana, Simrim keeping him safe on Thresh, Cat the Cougar prowling around in the jungle on Evelynn, Alcantos looking for the kill on Ahri mid lane, and Calfin determining the outcome of the team fights on that top lane Gnar.
30 seconds.
This is going to be so explosive. They've already gone for these deep invades. They've got the Evelynn under their belt, Vanquished making the early moves. They're like, hey, you guys want to scale Maokai? You want to scale Vayne? Well, we're going to take control of this early game. We're going to know exactly where you are. We're going to make our moves based off these pieces of information, and we're going to come out on top. We're not going to let you get to that late game.
I love the early wards being placed down on the side of Vanquished. They want to know exactly what's going on with these movements by White Lightning through their jungle. They're going to catch out lane swaps. They're going to catch if the jungler starts at one of these camps. And it's really a heads-up play coming out of them, making sure they've got all the information they could possibly work with.
And blue side, White Lightning sitting so far back in their jungle. They don't want to get caught out by this 5-man roaming squad, which has dispersed as of now. But you just see how much respect showing to each other right now.
These teams are coming off of the end of last season, realizing that they are the biggest competition for each other, and now the fact that they get to meet in Game 1 is going to set a gold standard for what we're looking for in terms of action and games. I'm looking forward for this to be a bloodbath, and hopefully it will as the teams start off and the minions start to collide.
Yeah, another player to keep an eye out on is Hobbs. He is amazing at this game. One of my heroes coming out of House Party 5v5. His mechanical ability, decision making is just so... I'm like at a loss for words. I'm amazed every time I watch the guy play.
Thresh and Tristana finding some aggression onto Vayne and Janna in the bot side, even as early as level 1. A lot of times you see these bot laners go in for that level 2 power spike, but who needs it when you know you can bully them around without even having to have that second level?
And Alcantos doing a great job using Ahri's auto attacks to poke him down. Ahri has such a quick rate of fire that you can just pound those out on him, and that forced Hobbs to start Command Protect at level... well, not start it, use it at level 2. So he can at least get out harass free when it's turn for level 3, where he can actually start making some moves to pressure Alcantos.
So much aggressive positioning from Simrim. You can constantly see him skating around the edge of those creep waves. He's always positioning himself in a way that gives him a straight line death sentence if he can find it onto either of these enemies. Janna and Vayne, neither one's a bad pull. If you can manage to death sentence either one of those, Tristana throws down the explosive charge, gets an auto or two, you're going to win a trade.
And that's just showing how far ahead Vanquished is starting out in this early game. Because of Simrim's zone control, Vayne is down 6 CS already.
Elise positioning up around middle. The pings were coming out onto the side of Vanquished. They knew she was there, and they're doing a good job of preventing this early pressure that comes out from an Elise pick. They have to make sure that she doesn't allow these lanes to snowball if they want to reach the mid game and be in a solid position.
And Cat the Cougar roaming around probably topside next on Evelynn. He saw that Senpai has pushed the wave up to the turret, so it's probably going to bounce to reset near the middle. That ward in the tri-bush is not going to help him. You cannot see Elise unless she is near you or in action.
Cat the Cougar now positioning possibly for that Maokai gank, but it's not going to be something he's able to find a whole lot on, especially early. Early game, Gnar actually struggles in the damage department. He doesn't actually do that much until he's Mega form or until he has some items in the mini form. So the damage, not a huge threat. They'll have to see if they can at least blow something from this Maokai. This Thresh into the bot lane, looking to play once again so
and Cat the
aggressively.
Cougar has shown herself.
It's going to be Evelynn onto the top side. Maokai now the target of these two. They will be able to find some damage, but the flash has not yet been popped. Now going to finally get it. The frenzy will trigger, and Maokai walks away barely alive.
And Chickstig LP looked, she was trying to go bottom lane near around that time, but hesitated and backed off, and would have been maybe able to make something happen due to Cat the Cougar showing top lane. But that's a lot of pressure on the top side of the map.
The gank in the mid lane. Elise is there. She's got the bite. Can Ari get away? The repel is up. That's going to be first blood. Going over to White Lightning. The early jungle power shows up here at the 5-minute mark.
From both teams.
Oh, the death sentence onto Vayne. The shield is there. Tristana trying to find that explosive shot. It's not going to do a whole lot. They do manage to disengage this one, but a wonderful grab coming out from Thresh.
Yeah, Simram is just so strong on this champion. It shows why they picked him first round. Just that confidence is going to carry him through the lane, carry him through the team fights as well. And to touch on that early jungle pressure, Cat the Cougar had a great gank top lane, forced Ice Senpai splash. However, they did not come up with a kill, and Chickstig LP able to put the gank down mid lane. Alcantos falls to the Spider Queen at the expense of his flash as well.
Big difference between getting the flash and getting away, and then getting the flash and still dying. It's a huge loss if you burn that flash and they still manage to come up with the kill on you. Then you have to play more afraid in the future without that resource to expend should you need it.
Exactly, the return gank is so potent. It gets in the opponent's head. First off, they're playing more defensively because they don't have flash, but when you show up again, when that's not on cooldown, that can tilt a player. Even if they try to keep a positive mindset about it, that just weighs on you as the game goes on.
Ari going very aggressive onto Orianna in the mid lane. Evelyn's here as well to try to help her out. They're going to be able to drop the smite. They've got the ignite. They've got the spirit rush. And Orianna, the robotic lady, rusts over into nothing. 6 minutes in. That's the return kill as Vanquished ties it up.
Alcantos getting a little bit of revenge in the mid lane there, using that Trixie Foxy lady and the Invisible Woman to steal that for their team.
Thresh trying to find another death sentence bot side. That is going to miss wide right. Tristana dropping that explosive charge onto the one without the shield. However, Vayne now coming back with a lot of damage. They find the tornado. They find the silver bolts. They actually win out in that trade. Well played onto the side of White Lightning.
Did you see that Tristana was forced to jump away, using her Gaposer defensively, unable to dish out damage so she didn't get procced on the triple one. Oh, but here comes Cat the Cougar. He's prowling.
Cougar looking for the flank. It's going to be the flash forward with the flame, but they will not be able to connect it. Defensive flash coming out from Vayne to escape that death sentence means that Evelyn is going to have to walk away sad.
Hey, but they got a summoner for summoner. You'd rather have the enemy AD carry summoner down than your supports up. So they do come out on top there.
Absolutely. Both junglers also going for that aggressive jungle item build. Runeglaive going to be the gem of choice to insert into these jungle items as Evelyn gets spotted out by Elise here in the river. The repel is going to come down. This is not a 1v1 that Evelyn wants to take as the spider starts munching down on her. A little bit of hate spike damage coming out in return as Elise forced to disengage this one under the threat of Ari.
We could be looking at a 4v4 here. We got teleports up on both top laners as well.
Janna and Vayne collapsing on towards Thresh. Now the Chilling Smite is down. He could be the target. He does not have the flash. It was expended earlier in the bot lane. The heal comes out. Trying to keep him alive, but Kuristina going to be able to find the credit for that one. That's going to be the second kill of the game. Going over to White Lightning. The fight is disengaged, but the blue side coming up big. Gnar going aggressive onto Maokai in the top lane, but just walking back afterwards.
Labu member number 4 comes up with the kill. Sorry, I love his name. It's a reference to my favorite show, Steins Gate. Gotta give that some props. Gonna give a little shout out there. Everyone should watch that if you haven't seen it yet. It's just as exciting as these house party 5v5 games are.
And that's saying something. Ari landing another charm onto Orianna here in the mid lane, doing a good job of bullying around early. But speaking of bullying, Gnar is straight up walking up to Maokai and demanding his lunch money on the playground, almost doubling his CS just 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it's such a huge differential, and it just shows how the auto attack, for instance, melee range versus the auto attack from a range. And Gnar coming up huge. Calfin almost doubling that CS 9 minutes into this game. He's going to have so much more effect. It's going to delay Maokai's tankiness. And they're going to be able to make a lot more plays around the top side of the map just due to the pressure he's going to have. Gnar has pretty solid wave clear in comparison to Maokai if Maokai is behind.
Maokai also a double Doran's ring start. Not actually going into a full item straight away, so that's going to set him even further behind into actually getting these team fight items and being that huge 5v5 presence that he wants to be come the mid game.
And Hobb is showing so much spec to Alcantos, does not want to fight him out in the middle, where Ari has so much more room to maneuver. She can be spirit rushing left and right, flashing around, and yes, Orianna does provide a little bit of AoE zone control, but Ari's just so slippery and she has so many movements.
The game very, very close across the board right now, with the exception of that Maokai and Gnar difference in farm. Everywhere else is within a couple of each other. 75 to 73 mid, 72 to 67 bottom, 33 to 24, a little bit bigger of an advantage in the jungle. But these teams are so close right now. It's a 1 kill difference with only 200 gold keeping them apart.
And Elise and Evelyn have both finished their Runeblade. Evelyn going with the Skirmishers just to have that prioritize the 1v1 potential. You get the extra 2 damage, you get that burn, you get the damage reduction, whereas Elise is more trying to set up for her team, going with the Stalk Blade so she can slow them down in terms of stealing their movement speed and get to these key targets quicker than you will be able to.
Evelyn into the bot lane. Thresh going to be looking to set this one up. If the Death Sentence connects, that's almost surely going to be success. Evelyn now behind the members of White Lightning. The Ravage is down. Can they find the Death Sentence? That's going to connect. The explosive charge is down. The Monsoon keeps her alive with a flash forward. That's going to be a kill onto this AD carry as Vanquished ties the game up once again. Gnar going aggressive into the top side onto Maokai, throwing him backwards. The tower doing so much damage here as Maokai might actually be able to find the win in this 1v1. The Arcane Smash. There's the detonation of the ultimate, but he's out of mana. Gnar in retaliation. The Frenzy procs. He needs a little bit more. Will the Boomerang connect? One more auto is going to do it, but the little Yordle forced to back away for the time being. He wants this kill.
The little Yordle who could. I have faith.
The Boomerang connects, but Maokai surviving with less than 100 HP for the time being. He jumps in. The Boomerang connects for the second time, and that's going to be the third kill of the game, going over to Vanquished.
The Death Sentence
connects onto the blue side, into the bot lane. It's going to be White Lightning now being forced to flash away defensively. The ball comes out trying to zone them away, but it's still Vanquished on top of the dragon, dropping down now below 1400 HP. Can they grab it? Elise is here. Evelyn is here.
Oh, the two-man
Shockwave connects, and Evelyn is absolutely deleted. It's going to be Elise dropping very, very low from the Ignite, but it's going to be Ari now dying, now trying to find the follow-up kill. Excuse me. They're forced to disengage this one. A bloodbath all over the map. 4-3 now, the team score after all of that, and the dragon does not get taken by either side.
That was amazing. Unfortunately, Calvin did have to burn his teleport at the end there just to zone off to stop any future kills coming in after that exchange. But it's okay because Senpai's teleport was already off cooldown. That gives the teleport advantage in the future to White Lightning though, because Senpai was able to teleport to a turret last time and gets the reduced cooldown. If you look at the AD carry CS differential right now, Christina is up 9 CS on Tristana. That is not what you want to see if you're on the side of Vanquished. Enemy needed to come out of this laning phase stronger because Vayne will outscale Tristana. Tristana still has the power to push these turrets in the mid game a lot more effectively than anybody on the blue side will. But Janna gets caught.
Connects onto Janna. Thresh trying to find the damage here. He's got the lantern onto Evelyn. They want to get into this 2v2, but Vayne with Final Hour going to be able to turn it around very, very quickly. If they don't watch what they're doing, the Evelyn ultimate is dropped immediately. It's going to be another Death Sentence looking to connect onto Vayne, but both sides disengage with nobody going down.
Alright, and both teams prepping for the dragon. Vanquished gets there. They burn the ult on Vayne, so they've got that going for them if they want to make this fight happen.
Tristana being forced to jump away defensively as Vayne playing so aggro bot side. She's found that advantage and she's no longer afraid of these trades. Speaking of trades, top side, Maokai's got a Warden's Mail, Gnar's got a completed Black Cleaver. That lane is continuing to spiral out of control for the tree.
It's 50 CS to 100. He has literally doubled him 13 minutes into the game. Calvin is just going to become this push monster, and he's going to keep Senpai down, and Senpai is not going to be able to be that massive frontliner they need until very late in this game. And hopefully, for White Lightning's sake, it will not too late. But Vanquish coming up strong. They were the underdogs going into this. They got second place in the Season 3 for our Premier League, and White Lightning got first place. So Vanquish sitting in a great spot right now to keep this train rolling.
One thing I'm surprised we haven't seen yet, Thunder, we're 14.5 minutes into this game, and every single tower on the Rift still standing strong.
That's just a side effect how good these teams are at rotating. When one person gets caught out, multiple members are responding. They're sending help. They're protecting the right objectives. When there's a move to be made on Dragon, both teams are sending enough people there. They're not getting out-rotated. They are just responding so well to each other.
Definitely something we're going to have to look at is which team is going to be able to find that key rotation, that one that the other team can't respond to effectively, to be able to actually start finding these objectives. This game is so close that if one team can break away and find a nice little advantage for themselves, they're going to be able to potentially snowball it into something way bigger.
They say a game of chess is like sword fight.
Evelyn trying to steal away the red buff. Elise trying to steal away the red buff. Evelyn, excuse me, as Ari finds the return damage. The charm into the Spirit Orb connects. Can they find the kill? It's going to be the smite being dropped. Gnar finding that boomerang to try to slow them down, but a wonderful shockwave on to 3. Elise now still in the middle of everyone, and that's going to be a kill. Going over onto Cat the Cougar. Ari still in hot pursuit. It's going to be Hobbs dropping number 2. Alcantos picks up his 3rd kill of the game.
That was just such great positioning. They invaded on the red, but they didn't respect the rotation from Calfin. With their top laner, iSenpai, being so far behind, he had the wave pushed in on him. He could not respond in time. Calfin shows up, he goes mega, forces a 2 flashes. Or 1 flash, sorry, 1 flash from Hobbs. Chigstag rolled up, but was just left for dead. Even though Hobbs got that glorious 3-man shockwave, it just wasn't enough to keep both of them alive. Alcantos chasing down for the kill, picks up his 3rd of the game.
A potential strong play when you have an early jungler like Elise who has the ability to control and duel and 1v1. The desire to steal those buffs away is always very strong, but counter jungling, especially in an organized environment like House Party 5v5, is something that has to be done with a solid level of vision, because if not, that happens.
And another thing, while we're talking about vision, look at the pink wards. Vanquished has got 4 of them on the map right now, set up in key positions to keep Calfin safe from the Orianna roam, from the Elise roam, or it just lets him go as offensively as he wants because he can just keep pushing his advantage. He knows he's safe. He knows he's not about to get rotated on. And on the bottom side of the map,
might be captured, might be pinchered here between Evelyn and Ari at the same time.
Look at that damage going out.
Orianna under a lot of pressure. The shockwave is there, but the charm's going to follow it up. Cat the Cougar takes the credit for that one, but it's going to be Alcantos showing up to grab the assist.
And that's exactly what they need. Get Alcantos ahead. He's a superstar player. Oh, but Thresh gets condemned.
A little bit of damage going back and forth here into the bot side onto these supports, but nothing really to speak of quite yet. Ari and Evelyn continuing.
Here's that first turret for you.
And the first turret finally goes down 17.5 minutes into the game, to the credit of Vanquished. They're up over 4,000 gold now as Vayne and Janna into the 1v1 against Tristana and Thresh. Final hours pop. Tristana's under a lot of pressure, but the exhaust is down. Janna has to be careful trying to keep her 80 carry alive. The Death Sense will connect. The box is there. The heal is out. The Monsoon forcing Tristana away as they try to get the kill onto Thresh. The teleport's coming in from both top laners. It's Gnar.
But here comes the mid in the jungle.
Vayne under pressure. It's 5 men from Vanquished into the bot lane and 2 dead on the side of White Lightning.
They're just rotating so much quicker. And that's 2 turrets. This is just about to snowball right out of control. They're going to have Tristana in these siege situations where she's so powerful.
This is exactly what we were talking about with one team finding that opening. They finally make the out rotation, and it's not just a rotation that turns into one objective. It turns into 2 or 3 as Dragon number 1 falls here 18.5 minutes into the game.
Vanquish knowing exactly what they need to do when they would do it. They push mid, they get the turret after Cat the Cougar catches out Hobbs. Hobbs was trying to go bottom to give him some help. White Lightning oversteps, gets over a little bit too zealous, gets aggressive on the bottom lane, and they get Simran landing some glorious hooks, enemy knowing exactly when he needs to jump away to safety with the rocket. And a rotation from Vanquished. All 5 members, they're jungle, they're mid. The teleports are used from both sides of the map. And all of a sudden, Vanquished responds quicker. They've got 5 people. They get 2 turrets and a dragon off of it.
Vanquished are the ones definitely controlling this game right now, and they're not looking to want to stop anytime soon. Moving very aggressively. You can see Thresh and Tristana moving up in to this White Lightning jungle. They're going to find Elise very, very early here. The Death Sentence comes out, not going to be able to connect. But that potentially could have been a problem. This is what we're going to start to see from Vanquished. They'll start dropping the wards, they'll start moving into the enemy jungle, and they're going to start looking for picks.
And they're probably going to make some rotations towards top lane. Vayne is essentially pulling a double lift on there, just solo farming. But look, here it is already.
Evelyn and Gnar potentially looking for the tower dive here as Ahri and Thresh get into a little bit of a skirmish down here in towards the jungle. They're going to wait for this Maokai ultimate to dissipate, and then they're going to have to try to go for a little bit more. It's going to be Gnar making sure he absorbs the tower aggro for the squishier Evelyn. They want to try to pick this up. Can they do it before Janna shows up? And the answer is yes. Janna and the rest of this White Lightning squad going to show up, but a little too late
Simrim's
to save their
positioning,
forest friend.
And he's got Alcantos here.
Ahri into the backdrop. It's going to be Thresh there. It's a melted Elise. She goes down immediately. Janna now under pressure from 3, under pressure from 4, under pressure from 5. There's so much pressure that Janna can't survive. And that's going to be another turret, another kill going over to Vanquished.
Janna the Weather Lady crushed the pressure of the atmosphere above her. They were sky high and they are rising to the occasion. They have vanquished their past. The Phoenix is rising from the ashes right now.
I don't think that sentence could have contained any more wordplay. I don't think it was humanly possible.
I mean, I do cool things once in a while.
That was wonderful.
However,
Almost as wonderful.
I feel like I might have... Oh, yes?
As Vanquished control of the mid game right now. They're up 7,500 gold at 20 minutes. They're up 9 kills, 3 towers, and a dragon. And there's no stopping the Vanquished hype train.
3,500 of that lead is on Calfin. This Gnar is insane right now. He is so far ahead of Senpai. The tree has been chopped. Give Gnar a skin for this. They put it on Scion for the Lumberjack, but I think they need to give it to Calfin. As well as, you look at the differential in mid lane, you got 1,300 on Ahri. Alcantos is pretty far ahead of Hobbs in that situation. As well as the bottom lane, Christina farming very well, but he's not there when the teams are fighting. He hasn't been able to capitalize on any of these situations, and enemy 271 has come up ahead.
Thresh must have
their rotations.
Accidentally popped the box there. That or he just really wanted that Scuttle Crab. But that's going to be an ultimate not available on the side of Vanquished here for the next 100 seconds or so. Definitely one that they're going to be hurt and missing, so hopefully they'll just dodge the fights until that's available.
I mean, Scuttles is a pretty important objective, man. I'd blow the box on it. I don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy stuff. Worth.
If you've got a box, you might as well fill it with those delicious Scuttle Crabs. As Vanquished now posting up inside the jungle of White Lightning. Again, so many wards going down aggressively into this enemy jungle. The charm connects onto Janna. Ahri backing away now. It's going to be the Orianna Shockwave onto Thresh. They pick up 1 kill for themselves. Vayne going to just grab a little lizard as a bonus prize. But that's an overextension from Vanquished, and that's what White Lightning needs to get back into this game.
And right now, White Lightning is able to get control of this vision game in their own jungle. They're securing more of these crossroads so they don't get caught out. Or, I'm just cursing him right now, 60 LP gets chunked.
Evelyn and Tristana looking for the damage onto Orianna, but she's going to be able to flash away from that one, keep herself alive. That is an important summoner to have down now, though, and she is going to be a much more desirable target now that that's not available to cast.
Yeah, and so they're going to use enemies turret pushing power on Tristana. They're going to siege this up. Alcantos is getting a lot of poke down as well.
The poking power from Ahri absolutely devastating right now. They're in a 4v5. Thresh is nowhere close. He's still back in their own jungle. White Lightning cannot manage to take this fight because of the power of that Ahri just whittling those health bars down before they have a chance to engage.
And Tristana, by nature of the explosive shot, White Lightning can't stand near their turret, making it all the easier for Alcantos to just pick someone off the charm, or now that Simrim's here, they'll just be able to pick him off the death sentence. White Lightning knows they can't contest, they have got to back off, and they seed another turret over to Vanquished.
That's going to be the 5th turret of the game falling for White Lightning. Vanquished amassing an 8,000 gold lead. Dragon going to be spawning here in 45 seconds, and that's likely going to go over to them. No contest as well.
Alrighty, so Vanquished trying to get control of the vision in the enemy side jungle again. Hobbs doing what he can with the sweeper. Chicks LP as well. They're trying to keep their friends safe. They want to give them a way back into this game, and it's going to be through this vision control. But Vanquished so quick on the rotations. They've got so much control of this bottom side jungle right now. There's 3, 6, probably 7 wards. I think Faces are covering another one. So that thing is lit up like a Christmas tree right now when the top wave pushing down soon. Blue buff coming up soon as well. There's a lot of things on the table right now for Red side.
Anybody watching this game, watching Evelyn's movements, This is the way you play Evelynn. Evelynn is constantly off in the flank. She's never grouped up on top of her teammates, never in a position where simply engaging on her team is going to reveal her. She's always waiting in the wings, off to the side somewhere in the jungle, looking for that flank, exactly where she needs to be, and it's managing to find the plays over and over again as the death sentence just barely misses the connect on Janna.
Calvin threw the boomerang a little too early there. Showed and told a little bit much. Simkev backs off respectfully, gets away.
4-12 now at 25 minutes. This is definitely Vanquished's game to lose. White Lightning doing what they can to play conservatively, make sure they're not being caught out by all this jungle aggression from Vanquished, but at the same time, they're almost going to need Vanquished to make a poor play, to overcommit, to overextend, if they want to get back into this game.
Alrighty, look at Alcantos just chunking down these mini waves, keeping that pressure up. Calvin is a split-pushing machine right now. He is doubling iSenpai CS consistently throughout this game, and that's always going to be a lane that White Lightning is going to have to play reactively to. Vanquished as well, playing around their vision control, is making the moves. And
this
like
is a
you said,
huge
it's their game to lose.
Problem for White Lightning as Elise finding some damage onto Thresh, but Evelynn's going to be there to keep her homie safe. It's going to be a big problem if she lands at the wrong time, and the hate spike is going to be a very uncomfortable landing zone for this Elise. The pin into the wall is going to come out from Bateman. Isn't going to be enough. Gnar trying to keep himself alive, but the shockwave is there. Mega Gnar keeping himself alive for the time being. The charm going to connect on towards Maokai. They're trying to peel away now, and it's going to be a 1-for-0 overall as both teams disengage it.
Vanquished just vanquishing White Lightning's jungle right now. They're taking everything, leaving nothing, and they want Baron. It's on the dinner plate. They're about to feast. There's no one around from White Lightning to contest. They didn't even get an invitation for this.
White Lightning pings are coming out on top of the Baron pit, but there's nothing they can do. No one's in position, and this is going to be Vanquished finding the last remaining objective that they haven't been able to secure so far here at the 26-minute mark. That's going to be huge, especially now what I was going to go into before that fight broke out. If you look at Maokai, he's just now starting to get some magic resist. Evelynn and Ahri absolutely chew through him, and he's the front line of this White Lightning squad, and it looks like Janna being forced to flash away to keep herself alive. Vayne trying to find some return damage, but it's not going to be enough. The shield is on top of her, but the Spirit Orb just going to chew that away.
And with White Lightning being as behind as they are right now, they're not going to be able to siege into... Oh, and Hobbs gets hooked. Okay, no one's there to follow up, though. Yeah, they're going to get this turret, but Vanquished coming back. Baron empowered recalls. That's 4 seconds. They've got the home guards.
The gets dropped down. It's going to be Hobbs being slowed down by that. Mega Gnar finding himself in the middle of everyone, but can he get the ultimate off before he dies? He's going to get it only onto one target. The shockwave misses everyone as Evelynn on top of Orianna looking to bring her down. Maokai, the target of the rest of the aggression from Vanquished. It's going to be a shutdown onto Evelynn. Orianna comes up big there. A 1-for-1 so far. The top laner and the jungler dropping on these respective sides. Orianna keeping herself alive. Very, very well played between this jungler and mid lane combo on White Lightning.
Man, White Lightning needed a lot more from that because they've got Tristana on the side of Vanquished with Baron buff. Enemy, Calvin and Simrim destroying these turrets. Alcantos hanging out in the woods. He's a fox. He wants to make some picks.
The inhibitor turret now under pressure. They're looking to break the base. They have the opportunity to. Orianna has not been able to heal yet, and that's absolutely huge. They break the base open. They now have a very important objective to fight on top of, that they're at no disadvantage fighting there. It's not a turret. It's not a Baron that they have to commit to and then potentially get caught at. That's an inhibitor that they're going to have to force a fight on, and then White Lightning has to make the difficult choice. Do we fight for it, or do we let it go?
At this point, they are pretty weak in terms of individual power in comparison to their matchups. So they're gonna have as a team effort to fight. But if it's a full 4-on-4, 5-on-5, I don't think White Lightning is gonna come out on top with how much AOE and crowd control that Vanquished is gonna be able to put out. White Lightning is gonna have to make a very ballsy call when it comes down to it in deciding their next fight, because it could be one of their last.
Vanquished Baron buff about to run out now. They don't look like they're going to potentially look to make another play with it. Gnar and Ahri did both go back to shop, so they're going to be just allowing that one to run out. But again, they've got that mid inhibitor open. They're able to pressure that, or if they want to, they can just try to shove another turret down.
Alrighty, we got almost 30 minutes into the game. It's an 18,000 gold lead in favor of Vanquished. White Lightning, they're down low in terms of the gold. but they've got 2 Frozen Hearts on their side. They've got the Death Cap finish. They've almost got the Holy Grail Trinity onto Hobbs right now. Death Cap, Void Staff, Athenes. So he's about to hit a massive spike. Bane is working on her 3rd item, as well as Tristana. So if they can keep Christina alive, White Lightning does have a chance. Hobbs can land a glorious shockwave. I've seen him do it. They might be able to pull this out, but the siege is so powerful from Vanquished right now. And Cat the Cougar, they don't even know where he's at. They assume he's around, but they're not quite sure.
That's going to be the first inhibitor of the game, going down here just shy of 30 minutes. Vanquished continuing to take over this game in terms of map pressure. They're up over 9,000 gold, and they're looking to break even further into the Sky High base. They're going to be able to connect a Death Sentence onto Orianna, but she will be able to escape from that one. White Lightning trying to make something happen out of this, but Elise might be biting off a little more than she can chew. The Spirit Orb is there. She almost goes down. Evelyn continuing to pressure mid lane, creating this split push threat as Vanquished will not take their foot off the gas. The Shockwave missing as well, going to be a huge spell to have down, and Vanquished knows it. They're pushing on towards this turret, and they are going to break the 2nd inhibitor turret of the game very quickly. At this rate, they do not have to fear the Shockwave. The Death Sense connects on the Maokai. That's not the target you want, but he's really not that tanky in comparison to the damage being dealt by this Vanquished squad. Gnar in the middle of everyone, but he's not Mega. Going to be condemned away. Bane trying to do what she can to keep herself alive while still dishing out the damage. It's going to be Thresh, the first one to fall into this fight. The explosive charge is down on the Maokai, but it's going to be a 1-for-0 in the favor of White Lightning. They take the fight, but they lose their inhibitor turret.
So they're just slowly working their way back into this game. They need to do this a couple more times, but they can't keep conceding the inhibitors. They will not have any map pressure. Vanquished is going to get their 3rd dragon very shortly. That could be a pretty big win condition for Vanquished if they get to this 5th dragon. And with how much wave pressure and map control, it's probably going to be a pretty easy Baron unless White Lightning risks losing some more of their base to contest one of these neutrals.
Vanquished just melting through this Dragon HP bar. It doesn't even require any effort, just a flick of their wrist, and that thing is dead. The 3rd dragon of the game goes over to the Vanquished squad. They've got that movement speed bonus. Going to allow them to continue to dominate these fights, take control, maneuver, and position in a way that's very, very difficult for White Lightning to outplay them with how far behind they are.
It's going to be very difficult, and let's see if they're able to pull it off. Maokai will keep scaling. Bane will keep scaling. If they can stay in this long enough, Simkev can keep healing for them. They do have a chance, but Vanquished, they're turning on the gas once these waves start crashing, and they are not going to stop.
I'm not a fan of the itemization choice coming out here between the top laner and the jungler on the side of White Lightning. They've both rushed a Frozen Heart. As an aura item, that's not something you want to rush more than one of, simply because of the fact that stacking that aura does nothing. If one of them was an exclusive split pusher or something similar, I could understand. But they're fighting as 5 constantly. The aura overlap does nothing for them. I would have much rather liked to see a different armor item coming out onto one of these 2.
Now, I know Senpai built specifically for Gnar in lane. It's a great counter item to his champion's kit. But that means Chixelpi probably should have gone something along the lines of Randuin's or a different tanky item. Maybe a Dead Man's Plate to help them catch the priority targets. Like you said, it's just they don't need to overlap those things.
The Runeglaive build not paying off too hard for Elise right now. It doesn't give her any sort of tankiness, so as she takes this poke outside of the fights, her health bar finds itself being whittled away very, very quickly as the inhibitor topside now under pressure from this Vanquished team.
Especially with Alcantos just hitting those orbs, they're very deceptive and they do a lot of damage. That could be the 2nd inhibitor going over. It is to Vanquished.
Vanquished with 2 inhibs down, Baron spawning in just 5 seconds from now. It's going to be very, very difficult for White Lightning to be able to contest this one while still maintaining the integrity of their base. It's going to be a tough call as to whether or not you even go for it.
And it's live. Vanquished is looking like about to start it up. White Lightning trying to deal with waves in their base. They're trying to move through the jungle, but that thing is warded up so well. They're afraid of a beat here. Alcantos is about to start
the
the
last-ditch effort, looking to come up, try to stop it. It's going to be Ahri peeling them away as the rest of her team takes a bite at a Baron. That's going to be another one going over onto the side of Vanquished, but can White Lightning make the fight happen? Gnar in the middle of everyone. It's going to be Tristana being killed away by the tree. Ahri into the backdrop. It's going to be Tristana finding the first kill onto Bane. Evelyn drops very low. The spider munches down onto her, but it's going to be a double kill for Trist as Bane's health bar disintegrates. She's trying to keep herself alive. She finds the kill onto the Ahri. That's a huge shutdown down, but Gnar grabs the kill. It's going to be Orianna with another kill, a double kill onto her. Gnar, the only remaining member of Vanquished. Orianna, the last one standing on White Lightning, a 4 for 4, and White Lightning actually effectively shuts down this Baron.
An absolute destructive team fight for Vanquished. They get the Baron, but they lose 4 members for it. White Lightning comes up huge there. They have managed to stall out the game for a few more minutes, but with 3 massive waves crashing the base, I don't know if they're going to be able to stand up much longer. They've still got the bottom side turret, but that's 2 waves of supers from 2 different lanes hitting onto your Nexus turrets, and one of those is most likely to go down here.
A good call by White Lightning to take that Baron fight. An even outcome at this point, a 4v4, is definitely something that works out in their favor, especially when they're taking that Baron buff off of these Vanquished members. With only one person left having that buff, they're not able to do a 4-1 split and empower the minions with that single person simply because you've only got one guy generating the buff. They did a great job of shutting down the advantage that Vanquished would have had through that Baron, but they're still by no means in a comfortable position.
Yeah, Calvin is a monster right now. I love how he built Sterak's Gauge. He's built Maw of Malmortis and Black Cleaver, all defensively oriented offense items, with Spirit Visage to give him a little extra healing as well. It's just such a solid build for him to dish out the maximum damage potential, as well as staying alive for as long as possible. Sterak's Gauge is going to give him, after he takes 1800 damage, he's going to get a massive shield. He's going to grow in size, and he gets the shield for 30% of his health. I'm not so hot on this math right on the spot, but I'm going to tell you, it's a lot.
Vanquished looking to take out this mid inhibitor once again. They've still got the Baron buff up on Gnar. They're still able to empower those minions as long as he stays close enough. Tristana just pounding away on this inhibitor. This is exactly what they want. The charm connects onto Elise. Drops very low, but she's not going to die quite yet. The locket being popped to keep the team healthy, but they will have to give up the inhibitor after she gets taken so low. Gnar trying to find the kill, but he's going to be forced to have to walk away from this when the Maokai ult has been popped. The cooldown on that much higher than it used to be, so they've now got a nice 30-second window where that's not going to be a factor.
And you can see White Lightning is closing the gold gap ever so slowly because they're having so much minions funneled into their base here. But it might not be, they might not be able to last long enough with their last turret being contested on the outer ring for the final inhibitor.
Everyone's falling back to shove that wave up. It's going to be the rest of Vanquished just waiting here. As soon as this creep wave hits the turret, Vanquished is going to be looking for turret damage. The Gnar bar is almost full. That's exactly where he wants that to be. He's going to be able to jump in and pose a threat with that initiation. Can Vanquished end the game here? A good team fight says yes.
Well, the Calvin gets caught a little bit. He gets chunked on, but that Gnar is about to go mega.
He's very, very low HP. Only about a third still to work with. He's going to have to be careful. That does Zerg him back up to about half of his HP, but that's not the kind of health you want your main tank to be at when he jumps into the fray. Vanquish realizes that and just backs away to take the dragon.
They're going to get a consolation prize, 4th dragon on the table. White Lightning at this point has none under their own name, but they are getting a lot of minions cleared out of the base. Those inhibitors are going to be up pretty shortly, the top one coming back first of the 2. So that's going to relieve a little bit of pressure, but that means more splitting up on this Vanquished squad. More splitting up to fight this Vanquished squad, and Vanquished has got the skirmishes on lock right now. Everyone's going to be able to float between those 2 lanes way easier than the blue team will. Even though they've got their base, it's just having that unknown numbers advantage that they can rely on the side of Vanquished.
A lot of win conditions available for Vanquished right now. They've got control of the map. They've got the advantage in terms of kills and towers and everything. The dragon aspect win condition just came online. 6 minutes from now, they're going to be able to grab that. It's going to be as valuable as a Baron buff is. And Baron buff will be up again before too long as they ward up and make sure they know exactly how quick they take the buff. They shouldn't get caught out like they did last time.
Yeah, that was just great dot calling on White Lightning's part to contest that last Baron, and as you can see, it's bought them about 8 minutes worth of game timer. That's how long it takes for Baron, approximately. So, 7 minutes, sorry. They bought
Top lane
themselves
inhibitor
7 minutes,
going to respawn again, but it's going to be Vanquished immediately answering it, taking it down. Ahri gets caught out, but it's going to be Vayne now suffering a lot. Her health bar disappearing very, very rapidly, but Maokai into the middle of 4. The shockwave is there. A wonderful ultimate comes out from Orianna. The Gnar going to slam Vayne into the wall, and that's a huge kill to pick up at the start. Vayne and Thresh both going to be down at the beginning of this fight. Elise going to be the next one to follow them into the abyss, but it's a 2 for 2 so far. Gnar and Tristana trying to grab the kill onto the tree, but the rocket thing is going to knock him farther away. I forgot the name of that skill. You'll have to forgive me. There's too much excitement as Vanquished manages to make the fight happen in a 2v2. They take the inhibitor, but they don't take the fight.
White Lightning they keep buying this time. They're just going to keep getting stronger. They've got great late game scaling. Vanquish just needs to end it here. They keep getting closer with every inhibitor they're taking. But they need to do it soon, otherwise they might get in trouble. Great zone control, however, from Calvin, from Cat the Cougar. Even though Alcantos gets caught out initially in the fight, Christina spent the entire time kiting away and not dishing out auto attacks. Enemy on the other side was just free hitting from their backline. Vanquish protecting their carries a lot better.
Orianna also doing a wonderful job in these fights, finding the shockwaves on the multiple people. That last fight found its way onto 3 different targets on Vanquished, and if she can keep getting those huge team fight impacting ultis, they're going to be able to make a lot happen out of it. Evelyn now being spotted out by White Lightning, but the Banshee's Veil and that Lantern are going to be able to get her to safety.
Baron's coming live in 30 seconds. White Lightning, they want to have the initiative here. They want to be the ones making the move, calling the shots. They're tired of being the reactive team. They want to get the jump on the Vanquished. Are they going to be able to do it? We'll find out.
They're going to have to make sure they were careful. Vayne was still back in the base clearing out those minions. As long as they don't get caught out in a bad 5v4 scenario, they'll be fine. But what they have to keep in mind, and always has to be present in the back of their heads, is the fact that if they lose a fight catastrophically, something where they lose all 5 members and most of the people on Vanquished are still alive, it's going to be the game. Evelyn and Elise getting into the 1v1 here. It's going to be Thresh trying to find a death sense, but it doesn't connect. Vayne pouring the damage into Evelyn, and she's going to be the first one to drop. Gnar now not able to go Mega. Elise trying to repel over the wall, but it's not going to connect. It's White Lightning in control of the fight for the time being. A 1-for-0, but they've still got to make sure they maintain their base.
They got rid of Vanquished Jungler. That's exactly who they needed to take out to get this Baron. But because of all the supers pushing into their base, White Lightning has to recall. They can't keep forcing the Baron issue. And the map pressure for Vanquish paying off, even though